Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. Want to thank you so much for tuning in today. All right, guys, got a breaking news report coming out from the Middle East. I want to talk to you guys about some information regarding the strikes over the weekend that the U.S. carried out onto Iran's nuclear facilities. And CNN is coming out today and basically stating they have information from the Defense Intelligence Agency, which comes out of the Pentagon, that these strikes onto all these nuclear facilities in Iran may not have been effective as we think. So I'm going to show you this here. Take a look at your screen. CNN says U.S. intelligence assessment indicates nuke sites not destroyed. An analysis obtained and published by CNN indicated that main components of Iran's nuclear program were not damaged in the U.S. strikes on Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. So this is actually a picture of the Fordow nuclear site, and you can see what looks like 6 holes there in the ground, 3 on the top of your screen, 3 on the bottom. And these are supposed to be from the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator bombs. They're 30,000-pound bunker busters that were dropped onto this site. And as far as I know, the U.S. dropped 14 in total onto the Natanz and also Fordow nuclear sites. The Isfahan nuclear site, which was the third one that was targeted, was attacked on the surface, apparently with, I believe, up to 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles. So the reason why I'm showing you guys this story today is because Trump's coming out and saying that this is completely a fake report. Even his defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, is saying that. And just over the weekend, after the U.S. carried out these strikes, Trump had said that these sites were completely obliterated. Okay, so it makes you wonder what's really going on here. Is CNN just really making this up? Or were these sites maybe not as damaged as we think? And if that happens to be the case, could Iran just go ahead and continue their nuclear program? There was also some information that's been circulating around for the last few days that maybe some of the enriched uranium from some of these sites like Fordow could have been moved to a secure location and has not been destroyed. So there's so much information on this. I kind of want to show you different things here today. We're going to hop in over here real quick to the actual report from CNN. I'm not going to cover the whole thing, just part of it that I want to show you here. So it says exclusive. Early U.S. intel assessment suggests strikes on Iran did not destroy nuclear sites, sources say. You can see the date here, June 24th, 2025. Here's a picture of, I believe, the Fordow nuclear facility. And it says right here, the U.S. military strikes on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities last weekend did not destroy the core components of the country's nuclear program and likely only set it back by months, according to an early U.S. intelligence assessment that was described by 4 people briefed on it. The assessment, which has not been previously reported, was produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Pentagon's intelligence arm. It is based on a battle damage assessment conducted by U.S. Central Command in the aftermath of the U.S. strikes, one of the sources said. The analysis of the damage to the sites and the impact of the strikes on Iran's nuclear ambitions is ongoing and could change as more intelligence becomes available. But the early findings are at odds with Donald Trump's repeated claims that the strikes completely and totally obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth also said on Sunday that Iran's nuclear ambitions have been obliterated. Yeah, so we're hearing that pretty much from everybody. Pete Hegseth said that. The Defense Secretary Trump said that. Even Trump's press secretary Caroline Leavitt, she came out saying it was obliterated as well. Now CNN saying today they've got information that potentially they have not been obliterated in the way that Trump has said. And it says right here, too, people familiar with the assessment said Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium was not destroyed. One of the people said the centrifuges are largely intact. So the DIA assessment is that the U.S. set them back maybe a few months tops, this person added. The White House acknowledged the existence of the assessment but said they disagreed with it. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told CNN in a statement, this alleged assessment is flat out wrong. It was classified as top secret, but was still leaked to CNN by an anonymous low-level loser in the intelligence community. The leaking of this alleged assessment is a clear attempt to demean President Trump and discredit the brave fighter pilots who conducted a perfectly executed mission to obliterate Iran's nuclear program. Everyone knows what happens when you drop 14 30,000-pound bombs on perfectly on their targets. Total obliteration. So yeah, I mean, 14 of these 30,000-pound bombs were dropped. These are bunker busting bombs onto multiples of these facilities inside of Iran. So you would think that would cause massive damage, but there's been a lot of talk that some of the lower levels of some of these facilities might be much deeper than where these bunker busting bombs can actually penetrate, and we might have certain critical areas of these facilities that maybe weren't destroyed. But you guys can let me know what you think. And it says here, finally, the U.S. military has said the operation went as planned and that it was an overwhelming success. It is still early for the U.S. to have a comprehensive picture of the impact of the strikes, and none of the sources described how the DIA assessment compares to the view of the other agencies in the intelligence community. The U.S. is continuing to pick up intelligence, including from within Iran, as they assess damage. Okay, so there is more information on this article if you guys want to read more of it. We'll cite it down below in the description for you. Now we're going to hop on over to X, and I want to show you some things over here as well. Let's jump on over here to the Bulwark. Trump says, I see CNN all night long. They're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think MSDNC ought to apologize. Cable networks are real losers. You're gutless losers. Yeah, this is what Trump said today at the White House. This was his response to that article today that came out, basically refuting Trump's claims that they had actually obliterated or demolished Iran's nuclear program in their facilities. Take a look at this.
Do you think that Iran can rebuild its nuclear program?
No, Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
All right, so you can see Trump here very unhappy with these reports coming out from CNN and MSNBC as well, reporting that maybe these sites are not hit as hard or destroyed or obliterated as much as Trump and his team is claiming. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think these sites were destroyed, or do you think there's a possibility they could still be intact? He's claiming that they are buried under rubble and rock as these bombs that were exploded underneath the surface destroy these facilities. Now for Max 25, U.S. Defense Secretary Hegseth says, based on everything we have seen, and I've seen it all, our bombing campaign obliterated Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons. Our massive bombs hit exactly the right spot at each target and worked perfectly. The impact of those bombs is buried under a mountain of rubble in Iran. Anyone who says the bombs were not devastating is just trying to undermine the president and the successful mission. So Pete Hegseth standing behind Trump and saying, yes, we did obliterate these facilities. They are buried under rock and rubble now. The Iranians will no longer be able to utilize these facilities anymore. And if anything, they set them back years, not just a few months like a lot of the reports are coming out today stating. Now Megatron Ron just in, U.S. Secretary of Defense, furious after CNN reported and that Israeli Channel 14 partially confirmed that Iran's nuclear underground facilities had not been destroyed. The CNN report is stupid, it is false, it is absolutely made up. America dropped its bombs perfectly. These were very big bombs, and the bombs hit their targets. Okay, so this was also Pete Hegseth here commenting on the CNN report, but also, yeah, allegedly Israeli Channel 14 also partially confirming that these facilities were not destroyed. I have that information here from Megatron Ron. Breaking, Israeli Channel 14 confirms CNN's story. Israel assesses that Iran has secret nuclear facilities that have not been attacked because nobody knows where they are, according to Channel 14, okay? And if that happens to be true, that's clearly very dangerous, because what if all these sites that the U.S. thought they were destroying was the main facilities that they're using to build a nuclear weapon, but what if they have hidden facilities within other mountains that nobody knows about, that they could still be actively pursuing a nuclear weapon? So that's clearly Not good news right there as well. So let me know if you guys believe this story coming out from Israeli Channel 14 today as well. Then we also had this that I want to quickly show you from New York Times. This came out around the same time as the CNN review today, or the CNN article. It says strikes set back Iran's nuclear program by only a few months, U.S. report says. Classified findings indicate that the attack sealed off the entrances to two facilities but did not collapse their underground buildings. Okay, so yeah, yet again, another report now, New York Times. And maybe some people might say, okay, well, these are not real reports. I don't believe these. I don't believe these networks and whatnot. That's fine if you feel that way. I just want to show you this information anyway and get it out there so that way you can see kind of the full picture here of both sides. All these networks kind of firing back at Trump, Trump defending himself, Trump's team defending them. So yeah, that's what New York Times is reporting here as well, that apparently these underground buildings have not been destroyed, maybe some of them, and only some of the entrances have been sealed off due to these strikes. Now more in a fall, Netanyahu says, "We stopped Iran once, we'll do it again. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. We have thwarted Iran's nuclear project, and if anyone in Iran tries to rebuild it, we will act with the same determination, with the same intensity to foil any attempt. We have achieved a historic victory." Source was Al Arabia. Okay, so Netanyahu reportedly stating today that they will attack Iran again in the future if need be. They will not allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon, and if they notice that they're trying to rebuild their facilities or try to achieve a nuclear bomb again, they will be back into Iran striking targets once again. Okay, so that was just a statement coming out from Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel today. And then finally, one last thing I want to show you here from The Guardian. And it says J.D. Vance suggests Iran's uranium stockpile is still intact despite U.S. strikes. Vice President said the bombing was a success, but reports suggest the stockpile was probably moved elsewhere. So yeah, just look at some of these reports. I mean, I've seen countless reports talking about this, that there was a uranium stockpile that could have been moved to a different facility, a secret location. We even had a report earlier today that Israel did not want to bomb these sites that did have the uranium, even if they knew where they were at, because they did not want to create a nuclear disaster. So if that material is not destroyed, I would think at some point they're going to be able to get closer and closer to obtaining a nuclear weapon. So pretty crazy information today. Just wanted to kind of give you a full run around with this story and what's going on. And clearly Trump is not very happy with CNN and, like New York Times coming out with these kind of reports saying these facilities were not completely destroyed. But, based on everything you see here and kind of what you've been hearing around the community talking about all these different strikes onto these facilities, do you guys think that the underground nuclear sites were actually destroyed or just partially damaged? Do you think they're repairable or not repairable? What do you think is happening here? Because Trump clearly stated they had obliterated all of these three sites. That includes Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan nuclear facilities inside of Iran. Okay, so let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.